I bought a house, and then my husband made a wild demand, so I taught him a lesson he won't forget. Hey, where are you? Stop fooling around, everything is missing from the house, what is happening? I shouted. I packed my bags and left, came the reply. What? Why would you do that? Because we're getting divorced. It just makes sense for me to go. Divorced? What are you saying? Yes, I already filed the papers. My name is Amanda, I'm 35, and I work in an office. I had been married to David for 5 years. In the beginning, things were okay, not amazing, but manageable. Over time, problems started to show up. 2 years ago, David quit his job to start a business. I supported him because I believed in his plan, but his business never worked. Instead, it used up all our savings. I ended up paying all the bills, rent, food, utilities, while he struggled. Finances were one problem, but the real issue was his family. David's mother and sister still lived in their old home, and every time we visited, I felt like I was entering enemy territory. They criticized everything I did. Their comments made me feel unwanted and small. It wasn't just a few harsh words. Their constant judgment wore me down. Even though we had our own apartment just 10 minutes away, David insisted we visit them all the time. At first, I thought this was part of being a supportive wife, but the more we went, the meaner their insults got. When I started to stand up for myself, the fights grew worse, and then money became another issue. One day, David asked, Amanda, can you lend me $500 for a friend's birthday gift? His voice sounded demanding. $500? What are you buying, a yacht? Aren't you going to support me? His sister interrupted, her tone rude. I was shocked by her words. David explained, I have been paying for everything while I haven't put in any money for over a year. And about his sister, shouldn't she get a job instead of asking for money? Before I could answer, David said, Amanda, just give her the $500. His mother smiled. David, you are such a good son. Then his sister, sounding upset, asked, can you give me $300 too? I need to buy something. David didn't hesitate. Of course, Amanda has $300 in her purse, just take it, as if my money was mine to use. Then he added, thanks to me, we have a place to live. I just stared at him, completely shocked. Later, in the car, I couldn't hold my anger. Why do you act like the provider when you don't pay the bills? I asked. He just shrugged and said, I have pride as the eldest son. That led to another argument. I warned him, if you keep giving them money, they will always ask for more. He replied, making my mom happy is not a bad thing. I insisted, we can barely make ends meet. We need to save money. After that, we only fought. Then one day it hit me, why am I still putting up with all this? Why was I still trying to make things work? The final straw was when David said, hey, let's go to my mom's house. I didn't even look at him. Go by yourself, I said. His face darkened. A wife is supposed to go with her husband, he argued. I shot back, really? Then why don't you ever come with me when I visit my parents? He clicked his tongue and stormed out. That weekend was the most peaceful I had had in years. No overbearing mother-in-law, no demanding sister-in-law, just quiet and freedom. For the first time in a long time, I had space to think clearly. I spent the next 2 days planning something that really mattered to me, my dream of owning my own home. I looked up houses, ordered brochures, and imagined how I would decorate a space that was truly mine, a place free of judgment and draining people. When David finally came home, I felt much lighter and more sure of myself. Oh, you're back, I said calmly. He ignored me and sulked like a child. It was pathetic. Shouldn't a grown man know how to act properly? I didn't reply. I just turned to make dinner, planning my next step in silence. I was done waiting. It was time to take control of my life. Then, unexpectedly, he spoke. You've been too stubborn lately. I backed away. Stubborn? Just because I refused to go to your mom and sister's house? Yes, he replied as if it was normal. A wife should obey her husband. If you can't, maybe we should get a divorce. Divorce? I blinked, surprised. After all our fights, I had not expected him to say that so easily. He crossed his arms and smirked. You don't want me to leave, do you? He paused, clearly expecting me to panic or even cry. I'm really mad at you. I've already signed my part of the divorce papers. If you defy me again, I'll file them. Think about that. Then he turned and walked away, saying, I'm taking a shower. Hurry up with dinner. Once I heard the shower water run, I couldn't help but smile. Oh, David, you have no idea, you just gave me the key to my freedom. I went into the kitchen with a light heart. For years, I had tiptoed around hoping David would change, but now I had my chance to escape. From that day on, I started saving every extra penny in my own bank account, a secret plan toward the life I wanted. I spent carefully and quietly, working toward an independent future. David never noticed. He thought I would eventually beg him to stay. He never imagined I was planning my escape. Months went by, and my plan worked perfectly. I didn't just want to leave, I wanted to leave with something that showed my independence. So I bought a house, a real home that was mine, free from his control. The only thing left was to move out on my own terms. I began packing slowly, one box at a time. I even sent some of my things to my parents under the excuse that I was decluttering. They knew everything and supported me all the way. Every step I took eased the heavy burden I had carried for so long. When the time finally came, David was away for the weekend, visiting his family. It was the perfect chance. That weekend, I packed the last of my things, left the apartment, and never looked back. That place had never been a home, it had been a prison. Now, I was free. My new home was everything I had imagined, bright, fresh, and peaceful. The smell of new paint filled the air, and for the first time in years, I felt I could breathe easily. I unpacked slowly, enjoying each moment of making the space my own. Every corner of the house reminded me of the future without fear or control. I no longer had to answer to him or brace myself for his moods. I was in charge of my own life. That evening, as I put the final touches on my home, my phone buzzed. David's name lit up the screen, and I smiled. I knew why he was calling. "Hey, where are you?" His voice was sharp, demanding an answer. "Where do you think?" I replied, keeping my tone vague. "Don't play games with me. The apartment is empty. What's going on?" I chuckled softly. I packed my bags and left. "What? Why? I don't understand." His voice began to shake with panic. I smiled even more. "Well, we're already divorced, so naturally I moved out." A long silence followed. When he finally said, "Divorced?" his voice cracked in disbelief. "Yes," I confirmed with quiet pride. "I filed the papers earlier today. We are strangers now." "You won't accept this," he shouted, his voice choked with anger. I felt a surge of satisfaction. "But you suggested that we could get divorced, you said it yourself. And as a businessman, shouldn't you stand by your words?" I didn't wait for his response because it was over. I hung up, and my heart was racing, not from fear, but from relief. It was done. I had written the final chapter of my life, and it was my own work. That night, I slept better than I had in years. I didn't realize how heavy life had become until I finally let it go. Waking up in my own home for the first time in a long time felt freeing. Sleeping in my own bed was the reward I deserved. No more stress, no more fights, no more pretending that everything was okay, no more dealing with a controlling husband or his family. Now it was just me, and I was finally free. The next morning felt unreal. I invited my parents over for the first time since I moved in. Eager to share my new life with them, I cooked while humming happily as the aroma filled the kitchen. It was my small way of celebrating, a moment I would always remember. When my parents arrived, my mom gasped at the size of the house. "This is amazing," she said, her eyes full of admiration. My dad smiled proudly. "You did a great job, kid." We toasted new beginnings with sparkling cider. It wasn't just a celebration of my new home, it was a celebration of all I had fought for, my independence and my peace. Laughter filled the house, a warmth I had not felt in years. We spent our time talking and enjoying the peaceful moment, knowing I was finally where I belonged. Then the doorbell rang. I frowned and wondered, who could that be? When I checked the intercom, my stomach dropped. Standing outside were David, his mother, and his sister. "What are you doing here?" I asked, not believing what I heard. David smirked, acting as if he owned the place. "We're moving in," he said casually, like he was asking for a drink. I blinked in disbelief. "Excuse me?" I asked, shocked. His mother added in a smug tone, "Your place is big enough for all of us," as if it made perfect sense that my ex-husband and his family should live here too. "Now open the door." I stared at them, trying to understand their nerve. Then, almost laughing in surprise, I said, "Are you out of your minds? Why would I let you in? Leave my property right now." Her eyes widened in anger, as if I had insulted her. "How dare you? What's yours is ours. Open the door now." Her voice dripped with entitlement, the same tone she always used, but this time, someone was finally standing up to her. I took a deep breath and said firmly, "I don't know what you're talking about. In case you forgot, I am single now." Her face turned confused. "What do you mean?" she demanded, her tone growing harsh. I raised an eyebrow. Didn't your son tell you? We're divorced. We are strangers to each other now. Speaking those words made me feel strong. I wasn't backing down. A tense silence filled the air. David's mother and sister looked at him, waiting for him to explain. He stuttered, but it didn't matter. I had already decided. None of you are welcome here, I said clearly. Please leave. I pressed the intercom button to shut them out. It's over. David reacted immediately, pounding on the door, screaming, "Open up, we need to talk." I saw panic in his eyes, but I stayed firm. Then I noticed flashing red and blue lights on my window. My heart skipped a beat as a police car pulled up in front of my house. For the first time in years, I felt a wave of relief. The officers quickly went to the door. They restrained, handcuffed, and took David away. I felt all the tension leave me. This was the moment I had been waiting for. My peace and freedom were finally here. David shouted from behind, "Why are you doing this to me?" His voice was desperate, but empty. His mother and sister looked shocked. The police did not arrest them, but they clearly told them they were not welcome. I went outside and saw my dad standing calmly, arms crossed and smiling. He gave me a peace sign and said, "Always call the police," as if he was teaching me a simple lesson about keeping myself safe. I laughed with relief and said, "I love you, Dad." We went back inside and continued celebrating. The tension was gone, replaced with happy clinks of glasses and laughter. It felt like a new start, a moment when I could finally breathe. Later that night, I learned how far David had gone. He had been following me, stalking me from work, waiting for me to get home to make his move. When he told the police, they took it very seriously. They warned him that if he ever came near me again, he would be arrested immediately. I wasn't scared, I knew him too well. He was a coward, and after that day, he would never risk another confrontation. Just to be safe, I got a restraining order, not just against him, but against his entire family. I was done. After the divorce, David's life fell apart. His business, which had depended on my money, started to fail. Without my money to help, his family even struggled to pay their bills. With his father still in the hospital, things got worse. In the end, they had to sell their house. Karma had finally caught up with them, and I felt a small sense of satisfaction. For me, life is much better now. Inviting my parents to live with me was an easy choice, one I never doubted. Their presence filled my home with love and warmth that I had missed for so long. They constantly reminded me how proud they were of me and how lucky they felt to have me as their daughter. This love made all the hard times worthwhile. Now, we are happy and at peace. My home is full of laughter, shared meals, and little moments that make every day special. I have finally found the place where I belong, a place where love and support turn a house into a true home. I know challenges will come as my parents get older, but I am ready to be there for them, just as they were always there for me. I will help with appointments, make sure they have everything they need, or just sit with them when they feel lonely. I will be their steady support. I will listen carefully to their stories, cherishing every second we have together. For the first time in a long while, I feel truly at home, and nothing, no one, can take that away. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the story, please like the video and subscribe to our channel. See you next time.